Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Nurse Jeffrey, and subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. College football has just returned, and it's been a blast so far to start the college football season, but we've got the NFL returning in a couple of days. It's going to be awesome. The 2023 NFL season has been highly anticipated because there's so many young quarterbacks and so many teams that are on the rise potentially this year to maybe knock off Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs from off their pedestal and to avoid possibly a dynasty with the Chiefs like you have with Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. But let's get into it. We're going to be going over every single game, and I'm going to be picking who I think will win each Week 1 NFL game. Now, to start off, we've got a great Thursday night football game. The guys that do the NFL schedule did a great job picking this game as the Thursday night football game to kick off the NFL season. The Detroit Lions are much improved. Jared Goff, a guy that a lot of NFL fans have had a lot of question marks about whether he's legit and he can actually lead a team to a lot of success and whether he was even a right fit for the Detroit Lions. But he's been doing a great job. They've just drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, running back out of Alabama. They've got some really solid players all around. They've got an improved defense as well. And then you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, there maybe could be a hangover a bit from winning the Super Bowl this past season, even though it's an Arrowhead and it's always tough to win there. Possibly they could slip up, maybe not play as well because they're expecting to blow out the Detroit Lions. But Patrick Mahomes is a composed quarterback. He never overlooks opponents. You still got Travis Kelce. You've got a plethora of receivers. Isaiah Pacheco in the backfield. I think the Chiefs will win over the Detroit Lions 31-24. It's going to be a great game. And again, an awesome game to kick off the NFL season. I think Detroit will give them a game, but I will go with the Kansas City Chiefs to knock off the Detroit Lions. Then to start out the games on Sunday, you've got the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this is interesting because Atlanta is a team that has a lot of question marks. Ever since Matt Ryan has left the Falcons, they have not been playing as good a football, but they've got Desmond Ridder. And a lot of Falcons fans are wondering whether he is going to be the quarterback of the future for them or if another quarterback is going to come up and play at a high level. But they do have Bijan Robinson in the backfield. They've got some talent. They've got Kyle Pitts at tight end. But the Carolina Panthers, they've got Bryce Young and they got Miles Sanders at running back, Hayden Hurst at tight end, and some really solid receivers as well, including Adam Thielen, a really good defense. Even despite the Brian Burns situation, Carolina's defense is still going to be solid even if you don't play. And yes, Bryce Young is going to be in his first actual NFL football game as a rookie. There could be some growing pains in this game, but I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers to beat the Atlanta Falcons 28-21. I do think that Bryce Young will win his first NFL game, but it's going to be a good one. Then you have the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. If Joe Burrow was not playing in this game, I would potentially pick Cleveland to upset Cincinnati, but it is being reported that Joe Burrow is recovering from his calf strain. He will play in this game, and I think he's going to be too much for the Cleveland Browns. Even though he didn't have a normal offseason to be able to practice the entire time, Cleveland's still a team that's trying to rebuild. Deshaun Watson's a quarterback that's still trying to find his way to get back to the level of play he was at with the Houston Texans. I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Cleveland Browns 35-17. Then the Jacksonville Jaguars played the Indianapolis Colts. This could be a very sneaky game here because you have Anthony Richardson, and he is a guy that can blow the top off the defense, run a lot of yards down the field. But you've got, for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Travis Etienne, and you have Trevor Lawrence. That is a team that's very young. They're explosive, and they're getting better and better by the year. I think that Trevor Lawrence is going to win this game over the Colts 28-14. Then you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Minnesota Vikings. If Tom Brady was with Tampa Bay, I'm sure more people will be picking them to win. But they've got Baker Mayfield now. I know a lot of people aren't high on Baker Mayfield, but he did have a solid preseason. Maybe he'll do a little bit better for the Bucs than the level of play he's been playing at the last couple years. I think he might have a solid season, but will they be able to go all the way on the road to the Minnesota Vikings in Week 1 where Kirk Cousins is an established quarterback? You've still got Justin Jefferson. That offense is probably just going to be a little bit too explosive for Tampa Bay. I'm going with Minnesota to beat Tampa Bay 24-17. Then you got the Tennessee Titans and the New Orleans Saints. Now, Tennessee, they've got talent. Derrick Henry is a beast beast. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL. That's no secret. But then you've got Ryan Tannehill still at quarterback, Will Levis, Malik Willis. Nobody's been able to supplant him for the job. And then you look at Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints. Even though Alvin Kamara will not be playing in this game because he's suspended for the early portion of the season, the Saints still have a tough defense. They've got enough weapons on the offensive end, and it's in New Orleans as well. I'm going with New Orleans to beat Tennessee 24-21. Up next, we actually have a really underrated game here. You've got the San Francisco 49ers, a team that a lot of people thought had a shot to win it all last season before Brock Purdy ended up getting injured in the NFL playoffs last year, traveling on the road to the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that is getting better. Kenny Pickett is a solid quarterback. He's actually starting to justify his first-round pick selection by Pittsburgh a couple years ago. I think that San Francisco could slip up here because it's tough to go all the way across the country in your first week and play a team that is not bad in the Pittsburgh Steelers. They always have a tough defense. Mike Tomlin always has them playing well, but I do think Brock Purdy will pull this one out. He's just a really solid quarterback. I know he's not been a starting quarterback in the NFL for long enough for everyone to trust him yet, but I do think he will be composed, not make enough mistakes, and they've got a talented team with Deebo Samuels and Christian McCaffrey. I'm going with San Francisco to beat Pittsburgh 31-24. Up next, we have the Arizona Cardinals and the Washington Commanders. Washington's been getting a lot of praise for the play of Sam Howell and the addition of offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. Ron Rivera is a solid coach as well. And then you look at Arizona and the Cardinals, they've been having a lot of issues on both ends of the field. They start out the season usually pretty solid, then they just tank. But Washington is a team that I am buying a little bit of the hype. And I don't think that they're going to be a great team, but they will be improved this year. I do think Arizona will keep it close, but I'm going to go with Washington to beat Arizona 24-17. Then you got the Houston Texans and the Baltimore Ravens. This is a really tough game for CJ Stroud to be playing in his first game with the Houston Texans. That offensive line is going to have to give him some breaks, because if they don't, then they're going to get beat fairly badly in this game. Their offensive line has to protect them and allow him to be able to play the entire season and not get injured. I think Will Anderson will have a solid game, but it's in Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, I think, is just going to be too much. They've got too much talent on both sides of the ball. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens to beat the Houston Texans 28-14. Then you've got the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. Could this be the turning in the rivalry? Because you don't have Aaron Rodgers anymore. Jordan Love looked fairly impressive in the preseason. Maybe he'll be able to lead the Packers on the road and continue the hot streak that the Packers have had over the Chicago Bears. But Chicago, you've got Justin Fields, he's a really solid quarterback despite a lot of turnover issues. I think that's just partly due to the fact that he doesn't have a great offensive line, but I think Chicago is trying to help in that regard. They've got DJ Moore now. That's a great weapon from the Carolina Panthers. I actually think Chicago's finally going to turn the tide in this rivalry. I'm going with the Bears to beat the Packers 17-14, but if Green Bay does win this game, maybe it does mean that the Packers might be a bit better than we're anticipating. Then you got the Las Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos. Denver's a team that's just collapsed ever since Peyton Manning is retired. They haven't made the playoffs since. Russell Wilson, they added him thinking he was going to be able to get them back to the playoffs. They haven't yet, and their offense is just sluggish. Their defense doesn't do much better as well. In Las Vegas, you've got Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, and Jimmy Garoppolo. That's a really solid trio. I think that Las Vegas is going to win this game 21-14. It won't be a blowout. I think Denver will hang in there because they're at home in week one, but I think Las Vegas is going to win. Then you've got back-to-back great games. You got the Philadelphia Eagles at the New England Patriots. This is a game that the New England Patriots would be well served to win because it would really boost their momentum for the season. Philadelphia, you still got Jalen Hurts. You don't have Miles Sanders anymore, but you got Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, a talented defense. Philadelphia, even though they did lose in the Super Bowl, I'm sure that they're going to be coming back with a vengeance, hoping that they can possibly get back to the Super Bowl again and win it this time. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. I'm sure most people aren't picking them to do that, but I do think Philadelphia is going to come out hungry in this game. New England, Mac Jones is kind of on the hot seat for his job. If he wants to keep his job, he really needs to play well this season because they just got Matt Corral that the Panthers waived. Bailey Zappe's no longer there, but Matt Corral could possibly push Mac Jones for the job. So we'll have to see how he plays. I think New England with their home crowd is going to keep this one really close. They're going to play really solid in this game all around, but I do think that Jalen Hurts and the Eagles will find a way to win this one on the road 28-21. Then you've got the Miami Dolphins at the Los Angeles Chargers. What a game this is. You've got Tua Tagovailoa coming off his injuries from last season. Hopefully he can stay healthy because he's such a talented quarterback. He's got Jalen Waddle. He's got Tyreek Hill. He's got a really solid team all around. And then you look at the Chargers. Justin Herbert is one of the rising stars in the NFL. I still think he's underrated because the Chargers didn't really have the type season that a lot of Chargers fans were expecting, and maybe some NFL fans all around the league were expecting. The Chargers just kind of fell short of expectations last year, but Herbert had a great season. I think he's just going to continue to get better and better. He needs more protection, but they've got a solid team. It's at home, and I think that Tua might have a little bit of rust coming off of his injuries from last season. He'll play well in this game, but I am going to go with the Chargers to beat the Miami Dolphins 28-24. But this is one of those games that could go either way, and I think it's going to be one of the best games of week one. Then you got the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Rams, 2 years removed from their Super Bowl win. They don't like the team that they were before. They don't have Von Miller anymore. Cooper Kupp can't stay healthy, and if he's not healthy in this game, that will really hurt their chances of being able to win this game. It's in Seattle. It's always a tough place to play. Geno Smith's been playing opportunistic football, and they've been getting really good players in the draft. You talk about Kenneth Walker that they got last year. That was a great addition. And then they just got Jackson Smith and Jigba to pair with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. I really like the Seahawks' chances of being a solid team this year. Geno Smith might not be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, but he's got a lot of talent around him. That's going to help him elevate his play. And again, the defense is solid for Seattle. It's at home, always a tough place to play. Pete Carroll's really going to have him ready to go. I feel like Matthew Stafford will try in this game, but Los Angeles is just going to fall short, continue to show that they're not the same team they were that won the Super Bowl a couple years ago. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks to beat the Los Angeles Rams 28-24. And now you got for the Sunday night football game, the Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be picking the New York Giants in this game because of the fact that Dallas always chokes in big games, a lot of people say. But I do think potentially that Dak Prescott might have a year that tries to quiet his doubters because he has many, including a lot of people in the Dallas Cowboys fan base and around the NFL. Dak Prescott's play has to improve. He's got a talented team around him. There isn't really a lot of excuses for him to be struggling, and I don't think he had as bad of a year as a lot of people make it out to be last season. He did have too many picks, but if Dak Prescott can keep the picks under control and Dallas just plays mistake-free football, something they really do struggle to do at times, they can win this game. But it will be tough on the road in week one in a tough environment at the Giants, and I do think Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, and that defense that the Giants have has a great shot of knocking off the Dallas Cowboys. But I will go with the Cowboys to beat the Giants 28-24. Maybe this pick could look bad after this game if the Giants do win by 14 points or something like that. But I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to win this week one game, but it should be a potential classic. And then you've got for the Monday night football game. There's so many good games in week one. You want to talk about having a great opening week to get the fan interest right back into a sport right off the bat? Well, then the NFL just did a fantastic job because they've got a lot of great games to pique people's interest to get them right back to watching the NFL, because this Monday night football game between the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets is a really solid game. Maybe a couple years ago it wouldn't have been, but the Jets now have Aaron Rodgers, and they've got a lot of talent up and down that roster. You've got Garrett Wilson at wide receiver. That defense is improved, and I even think the offensive line is going to be slightly improved to really help out Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Aaron Rodgers would have gone to the Jets if their offensive line was poor, especially at this stage of his career, but Buffalo's got Josh Allen. They've got a really solid team, but for them to have to go on the road in week one against an opportunistic Jets team, they really want to go out there and show the NFL world that they're for real with Aaron Rodgers, and you know they're going to want to win while they have Aaron Rodgers because he's not going to be with the Jets for too many years. I think that this is going to be a really close game. I could see Josh Allen and the Bills pulling this one off, but I'm actually going to go with the New York Jets to beat the Buffalo Bills 31-28 Monday Night Football to make a statement opening win in week one and really show the NFL world that the Jets are for real. Now, those are the week one games of the 2023 NFL season. I think there's going to be a lot of great games for us to watch. You can argue that Miami-Los Angeles game could be the best. The Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots, the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants, the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets, or even the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs could be the best game. And I think they're all going to be really solid games. So many great games for us to watch in week one. And it's definitely going to bring back the excitement of the NFL season right off the bat in week one with all these great games. Comment down below which teams you think will win the week one NFL games, which teams are on possible upset alert, or which games you think will go exactly as expected. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I will see you next time.